Do you ever feel overwhelmed by the ever-changing world of technology? Tech It Out can help make some sense of it all. Breaking down geek speak into street speak, technology columnist, author, and TV personality Mark Saltzman covers consumer technology each week for every listener. Mark tackles the latest news, reviews, and how-tos to help you understand what's hot, what's not, and why.
Hey everyone, welcome to Tech It Out. This is episode 426. Happy holidays, everyone. I hope you all enjoyed your Christmas, if you celebrated, or perhaps Hanukkah the week before that, or maybe Kwanzaa. Whatever you celebrated, if anything, I hope you enjoyed some quality time with family and friends. By the time you hear this episode, actually, it could be just after New Year's, in fact, as some stations will air this episode, as late as January the 2nd. And so all the best to you in 2026 as well. I'm getting ready to go to the Consumer Electronics Show on January the 5th for 4 days, which is where all the big tech products make its initial debut. So looking forward to that, even though it's a crazy busy show. And I look forward to reporting on all of the highlights to you in an upcoming Tech It Out. Oh, before I tell you what's on tap for today, a huge thank you for all your support on the show. It was a huge year for Tech It Out, and I hope the momentum continues well into the new year. And thank you to my sponsors, Norton, Visa, and SANDISK. Speaking of Visa, actually, we're going to kick off today's Tech It Out by learning about holiday sales data in this country. With all the doom and gloom that we keep hearing about tied to the economy, you just might be surprised to learn how healthy the economy may be after all, if shopping data is any indication. After that, we're going to talk about the late Jane Goodall and the tech used by her institute when I interview the Jane Goodall Institute's chief scientist. I had the pleasure of sitting down with him at the recent AWS reInvent convention in Las Vegas. And so I'm going to play that on all the ways tech can help capture and analyze chimpanzee behavior, but also how the Jane Goodall Institute leverages tech to tell its stories to fans around the world. Also on today's Tech It Out, how to back up your important photos and videos from your iPhone, those irreplaceable photos and home movies perhaps, without needing to pay for iCloud storage. It's a small device that you plug in underneath. We're going to get to all of that and more on a new Tech It Out. And so let's officially kick off the new episode with our first interview. Visa has just published its annual Retail Spend Monitor report, providing a comprehensive view of consumer holiday spending across the U.S., Canada, and other countries. The data analyzes 7 weeks of transactions from November 1st through December 21st, including a look at year-over-year growth, both online and in-store receipts, and it also examines the top categories of spend, like consumer electronics, apparel, and so on. To give us highlights, we're joined by Visa's principal U.S. economist, Michael Brown. Welcome to the show, Michael. Hope you enjoyed the holidays.
I did. Thank you very much. Great to be with you.
Before we hear about the latest results, what exactly is the report? I think it's officially called Visa Consulting and Analytics Retail Spend Monitor. Can you give us a high-level understanding of what this data is all about?
Absolutely. It's certainly a mouthful. So essentially what we do is we start obviously with our underlying Visa net data, and then we have to plus that up a little bit to make sure that we're capturing all forms of payment, not just the cardable payments that we see on our rails. So we aggregate that data up to make sure that it's representative of the U.S. as a whole. And this is obviously done by our seasoned data scientists, economists, and our consultants all working together to kind of produce this snapshot of what happened this holiday season.
Thank you for that. I can understand for retailers why this is really important coming out of the holidays. For example, in the age of same-day or one-day shipping, is there still interest in mall shopping? Apparently, retail shopping, like brick and mortar, is still significantly higher than online, even in 2025. Can you tell us about some of the highlights from this year's?
Absolutely. So you're spot on in terms of the in-person shopping. It still dominates. 73% of our payment volume that we saw this holiday season was face-to-face in the store. And so e-commerce, it's small but mighty, right? So 27%, but still growing at a decent clip. If you just take a look at last year and this year, it's about 8% both years in terms of year-on-year spending growth. So small but growing, but face-to-face still dominates when it comes to holiday shopping.
That's really fascinating, because I would think it would be the other way around, that maybe only 25% of shoppers are still hitting the malls and buying in person. Would it be fair to say then, Michael, that the main takeaway is that holiday spending stays strong despite economic headwinds? What did you find in terms of volume or purchasing behavior this year with all the negative economic news we keep hearing about?
Well, you're absolutely right. We see a story of resilience. Holiday shopping for this 7-week period that we looked at, that began back on November the 1st, was up 4.2% on a year-on-year basis, and that's on all forms of payment. If you compare that for historic context, last year we grew about 4.8%, so it was a better year last year. But on average, over the last 3 years, sales were up about 4.3%. So this is an average holiday shopping season. Despite lower consumer confidence, despite concerns about higher prices, we still see the consumer out there spending and engaging this holiday season.
That's promising. I read, I think about a month ago, that there was some survey that said shoppers are pulling back significantly on gift giving this year, so isn't exactly the case. Can I ask you, Michael, how AI may be shaping shopping behaviors? We hear about AI every day. What about when it comes to buying gifts around this time of year?
Well, that's an interesting story. So before the holiday shopping season began, we actually deployed a nationally representative survey here in the U.S. to judge this very trend of AI use this holiday season. And we found that nearly half of shoppers were willing to start engaging with AI. Now, this isn't all going to purchases at this point. A lot of it is price comparisons, trying to find that best deal or best bargain out there. But we are, in fact, seeing quite a few users adopt AI as a tool in the shopping experience. And probably not surprising to you, it's Gen Z that kind of leads the way on that front.
Yeah, not too surprising. I mean, AI has been around in online shopping for a while. I know, 20 years ago, Amazon, for example, if you bought this, then other customers also bought that kind of thing, trying to upsell you, with maybe an accessory to a phone that you may be buying a case or cables or whatnot. But then we've seen the evolution of that with generative AI, Gen AI, with tools like Rufus, which, again, just sticking with Amazon as an example, where you can interact with a chatbot to get more information at the point of checkout or just before. So really interesting. We are joined by Michael Brown, Visa's principal U.S. economist, who is sharing results of Visa's annual Retail Spend Monitor report. We're diving into data tied to pre-holiday shopping, in particular, in the U.S., Canada, and elsewhere, backed by VisaNet's unmatched scale, representing 329 billion transactions a year. That's about 900 million transactions every day, by the way. These insights help retailers and financial institutions anticipate consumer behavior and make data-driven decisions. Super important to get that data right from the horse's mouth, so to speak. Michael, what categories are you seeing the biggest changes in spending? I would think tech is very hot, but maybe that's not the case.
Well, you're right. Tech is hot this season. When we look at electronics and appliance store sales, those are up almost 6% on a year-on-year basis, up from about 4% last year. So that category is doing well. Other categories that are performing well this season, clothing and accessory stores. And then that one-stop shop of general merchandise stores, all doing reasonably well. If you look at the other side, we're not spending much on the home this season. You look at home improvement stores, for example, building materials, not doing quite as well this season. They're actually down on a year-on-year basis. And then furniture and home furnishings. We've seen a lot of inflation, as you can imagine, in those categories. It's also fairly flat, right around 1% growth, and that's down from 7% last year. So a little bit of a mixed bag, but electronics, clothing, general merchandise, all doing quite well this season.
Perhaps during the pandemic, we were investing more in the home. We weren't traveling, so spending the money on where we were spending time in. That makes sense, perhaps. And why would you say, Michael, Visa is uniquely positioned to provide this perspective? I think you hinted earlier that it's not just transactions when people use Visa cards, but other data that you're analyzing. Is that fair? That's absolutely right. We layer data to help inform our clients as to what is going on in the economy overall. At Visa, we see roughly 25 cents of every dollar spent here in the United States. And so to make sure that we're seeing the full 100%, we layer other data
such as that from the US government, the Census Bureau, for an example. And we layer that data together with our data scientists to make sure that we're telling a representative story of what's going on here in the US.
A couple times during our chat, Michael, before I let you go, I've mentioned things like, oh, I understand that, or, that's surprising. But can I ask you if there was anything that surprised you about this year's data? What did and what didn't surprise you now that you're combing through the results?
Well, I think the big storyline coming into this season was inflation and concerns about inflation. And I think the one thing that surprised me this season is even if you adjusted these numbers for inflation, we're still up about 2.2% on a year-on-year basis. That is a pretty respectable rate of growth. So I think that is the upside surprise. What didn't surprise me, well, I just kind of mentioned it, home improvement, home goods, those categories we expected to kind of be in the doldrums. First of all, they had a pretty good year last year. And then, of course, we're all well aware that the housing market is really not doing all that much. So it's not too surprising that those categories aren't performing as well this season.
Fair. When we return on Tech It Out, I'm going to ask Michael if he has any predictions for 2026. Since the new year is here, we did chat about AI. I expect that to still be a significant story going forward, even for shoppers, but would love to get Michael's 2 cents on that as an economist. So stay with us. We're going to be right back with more Tech It Out. I'm your host, Mark Saltzman. This is the final show for the year, or even though you may be hearing this on your local talk radio station in early January or in podcast form. Either way, thrilled to have you along for the ride. We got a lot more Tech It Out coming right up after this.
Listen to Tech It Out whenever you want. Find the Tech It Out podcast at iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back to Tech It Out, everyone. Just a minute left with Michael Brown, Visa's principal U.S. economist. Any predictions for 2026?
Well, I'm an economist. I love predictions. So yes, we have plenty of those for you. If you just think about all-in spending, so not counting inflation or anything, overall consumer spending probably about on par with what we saw this year, about 5.2%. If we adjust that number for inflation, it's about 2.8%. And that's actually a little bit stronger. Reasoning, we see inflation finally starting to come down a little bit next year, and that should be positive for consumer spending.
Anything tied to tariffs or the trade wars, positively or negatively?
Well, with respect to tariffs, I think that in our view, at least, when you look at our inflation outlook, we believe most of the acute inflation pressures from tariffs are now behind us. And we think over the course of the next 12 months, we'll continue to see these bilateral trade deals, and we're expecting inflation to ease. It is going to be a slow process. We're not going to get back to sort of benign inflation like we had pre-pandemic anytime soon, but it will feel a little bit better as we turn the page into 2026.
And if anybody wants to download and read this report, by the way, simply do a web search for 2025 Visa Retail Spend Monitor, and you should be able to find it. It is freely available to download. Michael, thank you so much for your time. Michael Brown has been our guest, Visa's principal U.S. economist. Fascinating discussion. All the best for a happy and healthy 2026.
Thank you so much, Mark.
As I mentioned earlier in the show, I recently attended the AWS reInvent convention in Las Vegas. I've been playing you interviews recorded at the show, and this next one is no exception, so have a listen. I have the distinct pleasure of sitting down with Dr. Lilian Pintea. He is Vice President of Conservation Science at the Jane Goodall Institute. And you yourself, Dr. Pintea, you're based in Washington, D.C., one of many chapters around the world. Pleasure to chat with you, by the way. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for your interest in our work.
I have to tell you, I studied Jane's work back in university 35 years ago. Boy, that's hard to say. And my daughter, one of my 23-year-old twins, is at a university that's known for primatology. Her and I were devastated to hear about the passing of Jane Goodall. I believe it was October 1st. You know, you've worked with her for a quarter of a century, so my condolences. I'm sure the whole institute is reeling from this still 2 months later. But thank you for being open to talk about your very important work at the Institute.
Thank you for your kind words.
But what a legacy, right? 6 decades of work.
Yes, we are mourning the passing of our founder, at the same time celebrating her incredible life and vision, and really looking forward to connect with all the people which she inspired over the years to continue her mission.
Which is what? Let's break that down before we talk tech. What is the mission of the Jane Goodall Institute?
Well, when Jane Goodall arrived in Gombe in 1960s, on July 14 in 1960, in Gombe, which is now Tanzania and is now Gombe National Park today, the world changed. Jane, through her innovative ways to observe and connect to chimpanzees, was able to open these new doors to not only understanding chimpanzees, but also understanding ourselves and our relationship to nature. And her early discoveries truly transformed the way how we define what does it mean to be a man, and also how we are all everything is connected between chimpanzees and environment, and also with the local communities and habitats outside the park.
The whole ecosystem, we're all connected, interconnected.
So a big part of the Jane Goodall Institute mission is to continue that legacy work. And to understand chimpanzees and protect chimpanzees across Africa. Another important part of the mission is to inspire everyone, from local communities to youth globally, to take better care of not only the animals, but also the people and the shared environment, and achieve positive change in their own communities.
So her original tool set was probably a pen and notebook. Fast forward to today, we'll get to AI and the cloud and your work here with AWS. We're here at AWS reInvent in Las Vegas, so obviously you're talking a lot about tech today. But boy, have things changed when it comes to data collection and analysis, behavioral analysis, and even spreading awareness. And you've been along for this ride for a quarter of a century as well. Have you seen a huge change?
Absolutely. You're correct. When Jane arrived in Gombe in 1960, her only tools were just a pair of old binoculars, pen and paper.
Yeah, and maybe a camera.
But also over the years, when we start having access to some of the DNA technologies, when we start introducing video as a tool for chimpanzee behavior data collection, she was very excited and interested in combining and complementing these tools with the traditional ways of recording chimpanzee behaviors and writing it on a paper. Mm-hmm. Jane's message was very clear. There is something special about keeping up the physical writing of notes and observation of chimps on a paper, but also very interested and open, of course, in understanding how these incredible technologies and new tools could be used to complement that research.
When we return on Tech It Out, we're going to hear what those technologies are, in fact, back in the early 2000s when Dr. Lilian started with the Institute and what is leveraged today. So there's a whole second half of that interview that we'll play after this short break. If you want to reach out on social media, if you have any tech questions for me, I'll spell my name in a moment. Or maybe you've got suggestions for upcoming guests or topics. You can find me on X, Instagram, Facebook, Blue Sky, Threads, YouTube, TikTok, and LinkedIn. It's Mark Saltzman, MarcSaltzman. And I look forward to chatting with you online. We'll be right back to hear more about the Jane Goodall Institute. Stick with us. We'll be right back.
Want to follow Mark? Google him. Mark with a C and Saltzman with a Z. Breaking down geek speak into street speak. This is Tech It Out. Tech It Out with technology columnist, author, and TV personality Mark Saltzman.
Welcome back to Tech It Out. We are chatting with Dr. Lilian Pintea, VP of Conservation Science at the Jane Goodall Institute. We're talking about the amazing work that Jane and Dr. Pintea have been doing in your large teams and various chapters around the world, now leveraging artificial intelligence or generative AI. You could probably feed it all kinds of data sets and interact with it in order to extract more meaningful information. As you mentioned, importing video, and you can see the chimps by name and their family patterns and maybe perhaps migration patterns and better understand behaviors and actions, which was maybe possible before, but it was probably painstaking work and time consuming. Right. So no doubt that technology is speeding up all of this. I'd love to just ask you, second last question, can this technology also be used to help us better appreciate what these ecosystems, including the life of chimps in Gombe and elsewhere, just as regular fans of the Jane Goodall Institute's work, can we better appreciate it? Can that tech be used for us, just lay people?
Absolutely. Jane's vision, if you look the way how she designed and developed Gombe long-term research, was not research for the sake of research or in isolation from managing of the forest, from the people, local people, which depend on this forest.
Yeah.
So
local
from the beginning, or from the governments, exactly. So from the beginning, the way Jane set up and started doing Gombe research with leveraging and engaging local communities and valuing their local knowledge was already holistic. And the education piece, it's absolutely essential, because only when we start connecting, this incredible brains of ours with our compassionate heart, we can truly unlock the potential of this technologies and knowledge. So I'm very excited that in addition to all these incredible important tools we're developing with AWS, leveraging generative AI for research, we are also talking about having a platform which will enable to develop educational materials, to visualize and enable people to interact with some of this data, to better experience and see the chimps, but also see how the chimps connected to the environment and to the amazing forests.
I can see students talking with a generative AI assistant conversationally, like with another human, asking questions about Jane's work and about the chimpanzees and their life and lifespan and ecosystem, and interacting as if they were a real person. But it's been all the work that the Institute has been doing over the last 6 decades, or an app that could educate people about the delicate ecosystem in which the chimpanzees live, or even a virtual reality experience, donning a headset and seemingly going with Jane on a mission in Gombe in the forest and studying chimps from a first-person perspective. I can see how powerful that could be, all leveraging technology. And I think Jane actually, side note, I think she did do something in virtual reality a couple of years ago that I remember reporting on. So this is amazing, like that it's not just used by the Institute to better understand and study and document chimpanzees' life, but also sharing and understanding the ecosystem and sharing it with local governments, but also fans around the world. Last question, Dr. Pintea, is I know you've been with the Institute for a quarter of a century. What would you like to achieve before you step down? Is there one thing that you, whether it's technology related or not, I mean, you are obviously the chief scientist at the organization.
Working with Jane, having this privilege to work with Jane for 25 years, this is more than work for me. It's a life mission.
What's your legacy? Perhaps I already achieved it. I'm just wondering if there's one stone that's left unturned at this point.
Yeah. No, it's an emotional question because this is more than a job.
Clearly.
Once you join JGI, Jane Goodall Institute family, there's many colleagues of mine who, like myself, spend even more than 25 years. And as somebody who worked with Jane very closely on a daily basis, talking about science, application of science, using science and technology to support our research, conservation, animal welfare, community-led development, and our Roots and Shoots programs, I feel privileged and at the same time lots of
obligation, almost.
This is the word. I feel an obligation to engage and listen and work with as many people as possible globally to understand how Jane's vision changed their lives and better understand how we can work together to continue Jane's mission moving forward.
Wonderful.
And we wanted to see Gombe long-term research going on for another 65 years, with many more incredible discoveries ahead of us.
Yeah, no doubt your work is helping to contribute to that. Dr. Pintea, it's been a real pleasure chatting with you. Continued success. Keep up the great work. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you for your interest in our work and for this opportunity to share it.
Hey, I wanted to take a moment to thank Norton and give them a shout out. They are an official partner on Tech It Out. I'm sure you're familiar with the brand. In today's connected world, a simple antivirus solution just isn't enough. Your identity, your finances, and your privacy are all on the line. That's why you need Norton 360 with LifeLock, the comprehensive solution that bundles device security and identity theft protection. Again, Tech It Out has proudly partnered with Norton as they protect your PC, Mac, and mobile devices from viruses, ransomware, and other kinds of malicious software, or malware for short. While LifeLock takes it a step further, constantly monitoring for the fraudulent use of your personal information, from your social security number to your bank accounts. If a threat is detected, you receive an alert, and if the worst happens and your identity is stolen, a dedicated US-based identity restoration specialist will be there to personally help fix it. Plus, with the $1 million protection package, you get coverage for stolen funds and expenses. Norton 360 with LifeLock gives you the power to defend your entire digital life, even if you're not tech savvy. Stop patching together protection. Get the all-in-one peace of mind you need with Norton 360 with LifeLock. To get a deal on Norton 360 with LifeLock, simply visit norton.com/techitout. That's norton.com/techitout. When we return on Tech It Out, if you're an iPhone user, you're definitely going to want to tune into this. Did you know that there is a small memory stick that you can plug into the bottom of your iPhone that will automatically back up your irreplaceable photos and videos? Because otherwise you're going to need to pay for a monthly cloud service for backup, which can really add up. And once you stop paying, you're without your files. So this is a great solution. It's a little keychain sized gadget. So we're going to learn about that with SANDISK when we return on Tech It Out. Stick with us. We'll be right back.
Breaking down geek speak into street speak. Tech It Out, hosted by Mark Saltzman.
Welcome back, everyone. You're listening to Tech It Out. One of my favorite tech companies, SANDISK, has just launched a new mobile storage solution, aptly named SANDISK Phone Drive with USB-C. To find out what it can do, who it's for, and how it works, we're joined on the line by Christina Garza, Director of Consumer Product Marketing at SANDISK. Welcome back to the show, Christina. Good to chat with you again.
Hi, Mark. Thank you for having me.
Great. Before we talk about this new drive, let's just take a step back and tell us a bit about SANDISK. The company is now separate from Western Digital. Is that right? Its parent company at one point.
Yes, that's correct. SANDISK has been the pioneer in flash memory. And for almost 40 years now, we've been trusted by professional photographers, professional video makers, business pros, and everyday consumers alike. We deliver a wide range of innovative, future-ready storage solutions for really every use case you can imagine across consumer storage needs. Our solutions are focused on delivering thoughtful and powerful products so that you can get your tasks done, whether that be daily or monthly, or if you're a professional using it every single minute of your day. We're really focused on delivering leading combination of speed, capacity, and data protection to make sure you get the very best solution for your storage needs.
And I'd also add reliability. That is so important. I've reviewed lots of flash storage solutions over the years, and sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. And when it's your data, you can't mess around. So you've kind of already answered this, Christina. I was going to ask you why SANDISK, when there's so many other companies out there, whether it's your solid state drives or SSDs, your USB drives or thumb drives, as some people call them, micro SD cards. Why SANDISK?
Yeah, we really try and have focused on learning what consumers need so that we can respond with the right product to fit those needs. Our mission here at SANDISK is to enable people to create, experience, and really preserve more amazing things that really matter to them from a data perspective and a digital content perspective. Whether that's the right memory card for the camera you use or a really robust USB portfolio with a variety of flash drives that you can choose what's right for you, all the way through a range of portable SSDs for every kind of use case. And we even deliver fun collaborations like with Nintendo, PlayStation, Xbox, and other industry leaders within the consumer space because we really want to make sure consumers are getting what's right for them and what makes them feel good at the end of the day.
Even the Smurfs.
Even the Smurfs.
I saw a video on YouTube. I know the Nintendo flashcards for the Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch 2. That's great. And yeah, some of your solutions for inside the console, like PS5 or Xbox. So all great stuff all around. So without further ado, let's now hear about the new SANDISK phone drive with USB-C. What's it all about?
Yeah, we're so excited about this because when I look back at just a few years ago, technology and storage tools, they always felt like they were for pros or for tech gurus or required a little bit more technical know-how. And what we're so excited about with these new SanDisk phone drive with USB-C is that it's for everyone. And we've really focused on making it simple, easy for anyone to use, that concept of it just works. And, with the addition of USB-C ports on iPhones and Android phones, I think it's been around a little bit longer on Android phones, but the addition on iPhones has really opened up a whole new world for every phone owner out there. Cameras are capturing incredible photos and video, higher resolution, 4K video, and all of this means larger file sizes. And you fill up your phone so quickly with everything you want to capture every single moment, even the bad ones. And you don't want to spend too much time deleting, but you do have this constant worry of what if my phone fills up? Do I have to spend more on iCloud? Is that the only way? And what we're really trying to deliver with this product is another way to complement what you may do today, but give you another way of preserving your content on your phone, whether it be backing up your photos and videos. You can even back up your contacts because you just never know what's going to happen. And peace of mind really goes a long way, especially with that device you carry with you everywhere, every day.
So you've touched on two interesting trends here. One is that Apple is smart and they know that you're going to run out of storage. So you think you have to pay for more iCloud storage per month to hold all those photos and videos as a backup solution. It's smart because when you buy an iPhone, it's limited in how much local storage there is and you can't expand it. And Android has followed suit too with the inability to add more storage with a micro SD card. But you figured out a solution there, which we're going to get to. And then the second trend is that I think when people think of USB drives and all that, they think of computers, but we're increasingly becoming a mobile society where a lot of the computing that we're doing is on our phone or maybe a tablet and not just a laptop or desktop. Maybe for the work world, sure, but we're increasingly using our mobile devices. And so you've also changed with the times. Your USB solution, as the name suggests, USB-C, fits all modern iPhones and Android devices. So can you walk us through how it works? It looks like a thumb drive, but it snaps into the bottom of your smartphone?
Exactly. It looks like a thumb drive, same concept as flash drive, which is why we call it phone drive, to be honest with you, is that we don't want to imply that it's really different than how people are used to using flash drives with their computer. But as you said, your phone has become your computer in many cases. And so now with a SanDisk phone drive, it's small, it's portable, it has a keyring holder so you can snap it onto your keychain. It's got a really great slider so that you can protect the connector. If you're not using it, you can just slide it away so that it stays intact. So it's really simple to take with you everywhere. But whether you're trying to move content or you're trying to back up content, we're doing it all through the SanDisk Memory Zone app. That's truly the backbone of this product. We build hardware. We've been famous for our hardware. And now our software is really coming into play to deliver that incredible experience that, again, is very simple. You plug it into your phone, it pops open the SanDisk app, and it automatically will back up if that's what you set up.
Love it. More with Christina Garza from SanDisk when we return on Tech It Out. Stay with us.
Follow Mark Saltzman on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. Listen to Tech It Out whenever you want.
We are chatting with Christina Garza, Director of Consumer Product Marketing at SanDisk. We're learning all about the aptly named SanDisk phone drive with USB-C. No more lightning connectors at the bottom of the iPhone. It's all one standard universal port, USB-C, so this drive works with all modern smartphones. And let's say you do want to transfer a bunch of photos or videos following a vacation onto your laptop. You can then unplug the drive and then also plug it into a USB-C port on the side of your laptop.
Yes, you can simply unplug from your phone, plug into the USB-C port on your computer, access it like a normal drive, and move content however you need to.
And it does work with tablets too, right? Like iPads and Android tablets.
It will. And I know on iPad, it'll recognize it as a normal external drive. You can use the SANDISK Memory Zone app on a tablet today, but it will only show up in mobile mode. We're working through updates for better tablet experience. Current state is it'll show up on mobile mode, but if you don't want to use the app on a tablet, it'll show up as an external drive really easily in your files.
Would you say this drive is primarily for content creators, those who are shooting video, maybe they're podcasters or streamers or, TikTokers, that kind of thing, or really for anyone who wants to back up? And again, it's not just media like photos and videos, but as you said, your contacts as well.
It's a truly made for everyone solution, whether you're taking a lot of family photos of your children or a family reunion, or if you are a content creator, this is a perfect tool so that you can easily back up all your content, move it to your laptop to do editing, upload from there. It's a tool for everyone. Content creators definitely are the core content generators. And so there's a capacity need. This product will really enable them to do quick backup. But really, this is finally a tool for everyone who has an iPhone or an Android with Type-C to do what they need to do with their phone, to preserve their content, to do backups, to move files without the hassle of only having the cloud as an option.
So you first download the app, you simply do a search for the word SANDISK, then you insert the drive and it'll scan your phone for your photos?
With the SANDISK Memory Zone app, once it's downloaded, you plug in the drive, it'll launch the app, and it'll walk you through setup. You can name your drive. It'll show you the name of your phone. It'll show you how much capacity you have remaining on your phone. And then you can walk through a setup to select whether you want automatic backup turned on. And in that case, it'll run, if you choose yes, it'll run your first backup. It'll give you an indicator bar that says how much more time you have left in your backup, how many images, videos, and files it's actually backing up. And once that's set up from an auto backup perspective, from that point forward, every time you plug the drive in, it'll auto launch the app and begin the auto backup for anything that's new. If you don't want auto backup, no problem. Leave that toggle to the left. And then you can manually move content. You can manually go and select files, photos, videos that you'd like to move, either copy them from your phone to the drive or literally move them from the phone to the drive to free up more space. So there's a lot of different ways that you can manage your content through this easy to use app.
Cool. Yeah, I was going to ask you if it does that complete backup every time, but it only looks for what's new or changed, probably.
That's correct.
Yeah, that's awesome. And this would be, I think, a good back to school gift for a student heading back to the classroom.
Absolutely. Who better to back up their phone than students that are out capturing a ton of content every day with their friends? It's a very cool tool for your kids to have on their backpack or on their keychain for back to school.
Great. It's called the SANDISK Memory Zone app. It's a free download. How much does the drive itself start at? And I guess there are different capacities you can choose from.
There are. We start with the 64 gig capacity and we go up to 1 terabyte of capacity. So it's incredible. That's a full backup of a 1 terabyte phone. So you can double your capacity with a 1 terabyte drive for a one-time fee of $145.99. The price starts with the 64 gig at $36.99. So it ranges from $36.99 up to $145.99 with the 1 terabyte. It starts with 64, goes up to 128, 256, 512, and 1 terabyte offering. So really want to give people a choice. And also, we offer it in multiple colors so that it fits your style as well.
SANDISK.com has more, or you can look for the SANDISK phone drive with USB-C at your favorite tech retailer. Christina, great to chat with you, as always. Thank you so much for carving out some time to talk.
Thank you, Mark. I really appreciate you having me.
And thank you again to SANDISK for being an awesome partner on Tech It Out, as well as Visa and Norton. Yes, I know there's a T in Norton, but it just sounds funny to say Norton. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I'm thinking of the old Honeymooners show. Norton? All right, I'll just stick to my tech and forget the comedy. All right, so hey, I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day. Wishing you once again a happy, healthy new year. All the best for 2026. Thank you for your continued support on Tech It Out. And I can't wait to report from the 2026 Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas on the next couple of episodes. So looking forward to that. All the best, everyone. Be well. Ciao for now.